So this is going to be my most unfiltered and my most vulnerable video episode if you're listening on podcast, because I want to talk about a really important topic, and it's something that I think can potentially help a lot of people. And that is the entire reason why I am even doing these videos and this content. And that is my journey battling with depression. So if you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Talia. I'm a designer and mystic, and I also suffer from depression and very severe anxiety. I haven't even scripted this out, but anyway, so here it goes. I have been battling with this for the past 6 to 7 years. I think it started right after college. Once I started getting into the corporate world, I was living in New York City, working for a really big advertising agency. And I realized it wasn't really what I wanted. And I wanted to move to San Francisco to work in tech. And I basically embarked on this interviewing journey that led me from rejection to rejection. And it was a really tough time. In my company, they were doing layoffs left and right, and they were specifically targeting UX designers. So it was a really stressful time because I wanted to leave. I didn't feel safe there. And at the same time, nothing was working out. It was one of the hardest times in my life because I felt trapped. I was also on a visa. So I was like, any moment, my life can completely fall apart. But somehow I pushed through, and I eventually somehow landed a job at Google. And a year after getting to Google, I started getting those feelings again. This time it was purely depression. I wouldn't say I had anxiety at this point. I just didn't understand why I wasn't feeling fulfilled after I had landed my dream job. I didn't understand why I felt like I was away from family. I didn't really feel like my work had a lot of purpose, and I just couldn't shake those feelings off. So I decided to go see a psychiatrist, and I was prescribed SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. For those who don't know what these are one type of antidepressants. What it does is it allows for more serotonin to be available for your brain to use, so it doesn't get reabsorbed and then digested out of your body. So in my case, I think this is clearly what was happening with me. I wasn't producing enough serotonin, or I was absorbing too much of the serotonin. So once I started taking this medication, within about 2 weeks, I started feeling a lot better. It really, really helped. It helped me have excitement for life again. I was seeing things a lot more positively now, whereas before I would see everything negatively. I had been questioning absolutely everything in my life, and this just kind of uplifted me. What I really want to get into now is that it wasn't that I took this and then all my problems were solved. It has been a long journey, and I would say an interesting relationship to this medication or to this type of medicine, because I started taking this about late 2018, and in 2021, and I thought I might not need it anymore, and I stopped taking them cold turkey. And I had a really hard time in the first couple weeks, and once I was off of them, I was like, okay, I can just, keep going. And those next 6 months were really difficult again. It was like I was right back where I was before. What I realized was that this isn't a medication that will solve your problems. It's something that you need to see as a tool or as a coping mechanism, but it's not really something that is getting to the root of why you feel the way you feel. Some people will say it's a chemical imbalance and that's it. Personally, I think that whatever you feel, there's a reason why you feel the way you feel. And I think that was my mistake in assuming that I was fine now taking the medication and not doing anything, not doing any therapy. So after I went through these really tough 6 months, I decided to go back on it. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to start doing therapy. I started looking into all these alternative practices to kind of understand where this is coming from. I took my 200-hour teacher training certification in yoga. I've done a 100-hour course in meditation. I've meditated for 500 plus hours more. I've had theta healing sessions, all kinds of alternative healing. And what I can say is that all of these have been helping tremendously. I definitely can feel the progress in me from everything that I'm doing. But that being said, because I see the progress, there's been a couple times where I've thought again that I am healed, and then I start dropping the medication, and then I can see that those same old feelings are still there, and then I get scared, and then I go back to my original dose. And every time this happens, and it happened recently, and it was a terrible timing because there was a health scare in my family right around the time when I started dropping the dose, and everything kind of just came together, and I just felt the anxiety taking over me. And I was like, I'm not ready. I've been thinking a lot about this, and I do wonder, even though I'm a yogi and I am fully a believer in the fact that you can heal yourself, I also think that maybe a lot of people have challenges with this. And I've talked to multiple people about this. My coach, who's also kind of my therapist, my yoga teacher, everybody has different opinions about it. But I think what really resonated with me is hearing that things aren't really black and white. It's not that you either do Western medicine or you do alternative healing, Eastern practices. I think that if you can combine both and they help you, amazing. At the end of the day, what's important is that you're well, that you feel well. I would not want that crippling anxiety on anyone. I would not wish those feelings of despair on anybody. So if there's something that can help you feel better, of course, working with your doctor, working with a professional, and if it's helping you and if there's no side effects. In my case, I don't have any side effects, none that I'm aware of. I actually just wholeheartedly feel better when I take the medication. Then I don't see why we should be rejecting them. I have personally battled a lot in my head, wondering, why do I need to depend on a pill to be well, to feel happy? And I think the key message I want to transmit here, that it just came to me the other day, was we're all healing from something. All kinds of diseases, health conditions, whether physical or mental, that everybody's dealing with. Depression just happens to be one of them. And sometimes healing takes time. And I am going to continue working on my own healing for the rest of my life if that's what it takes. And if the medication can help me in the process, that's okay, because I am trying to get to the root of it. So the way I see it is like somebody who had an accident and hurt their legs and they're relearning to walk. They're going to need crutches for a while they're healing, while they're working out how to walk again. So I see this medication as my crutches while I'm learning how to retrain my own thoughts to not live in fear, to not live in despair. Because it could sometimes be even a lot more harmful for you to live consistently in that chronic stress and anxiety, because your body would just be consistently releasing cortisol, and that can have far more severe consequences than actually taking the medication. I'm not an expert. I'm just speaking from my own experience. It has helped me tremendously. And again, nothing's black and white. I'm not saying this is the solution. I actually think the solution is neuroplasticity, changing your thinking patterns. That is the stuff I work on every single day. Every single day, I work on noticing my own thinking patterns. I work on stopping them and shifting the script, and really not letting myself get caught up on those doubts and fears. And even talking about this is not the most comfortable thing in the world, but I think it's important. I think we should talk more about it. I think we have so much more work to do to destigmatize mental health. And the last thing I want to say, which has been the biggest learning in my journey, is that nothing in the external world is going to be the thing that cures this condition. I noticed over the past few years, especially since I was working at Google, that people thought I had it all figured out. Like, I had the job, eventually I moved to Miami, I got a beautiful apartment here, which I'm super grateful for. And it's not the case. I have a beautiful life and I am really blessed, but I am consistently working on my happiness. And I think a lot of people are. I think for a long time, I thought the external things that I achieved were the solution. And over the years, I realized it's not, and it's coming from the inside. So everything I do now is from the inside out. It's kind of my new modus operandi. Ultimately, I've had to admit to myself that this condition is not something I have yet transcended. I have transcended many things. I have transcended many destructive patterns, but this, I'm not there yet. But that's okay. I think we're all in our own process, right? Hopefully, one day I won't need the medication, but I do accept that right now I do. And it's very helpful. And it helps me to keep moving and to keep functioning in life. So I hope this gives you some hope, some motivation that it's all going to be okay. Do whatever works for you. If you don't want to try medication, that's okay too. There's a ton other ways. A consistent yoga practice can also balance you. The most important thing is that you don't give up. Whatever you're going through, there's always a solution. There's always help out there. There's other people going through the same. So don't give up, and it does get better. You got this.